That should give me some voice. Thank you for that. I apologize. For some reason, I was getting a good audio, so thank you very much for bringing that up. And now we've got sound. So sound should be okay. Again, I'm just always seems like I'm having these problems with audio. So sound should be okay here. All right. So hopefully that is the case. Hopefully the sound should be okay now. So thank you for bringing that up. Sometimes I just can't get the sound right. I don't know what it is. Oh, jeez. All right. Sound is the same as sound one today. Okay, great. Still no luck. Okay. Sorry about that. Hopefully let's see if that. I just want to make sure if I'm seeing that. I don't have a real time. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I should have a sound there as well. Okay, great. In a case, if the sound is a problem, you can jump on over to TikTok and the sound should be there. Okay, let's look for Matt at ACLS. Let's take a look there really quick. ALCS. No, it's not giving ACLS. That's right. ACLS. Oh, I am just not getting Acellus Technologies. Okay, there we go. Take a second there to come up. Very nice cup formation, coming up very nicely to the 8373 pivot. That's looking good. I like the fact that it's in the semiconductor equipment area. This is the area that definitely is getting investment, and so I like that very, very much. It's a nice 97 relative strength, so it's in the top 3% of all the shares out there right now. In terms of strength, the market is down a little bit. We just came through earnings, very nice increase of sales of 60%, 140% up in terms of their earnings. So that's looking very strong. We also, in terms of the fund count, 467 funds in this one right now, and they represent about 58% of all the shares out there. So very, very strong, very low PE ratio. I'm liking this. This is looking very, very good. Beverly, Massachusetts. Oh, wait a minute, that's not what we want to look at. We want to look at, not that one. I don't know why we had it move over there, but ACLS is the symbol again. There we go. And Acellus Technologies. And it is, let's look at the checklist here. Wow, it's a 100% checklist. I think that this is a very good entry point. I'm going to put this down. Thank you very much for this, Wes. I was screening and I did not find this, but this is looking very good. ACLS symbol. And I'm going to put, I would say this is definitely buyable right now. So let me put that in there. So this one is definitely buyable. So definitely buyable right now, and I would go in probably with a half position here, but you probably could bump it up. This is looking very strong. I'm liking everything I'm seeing here. Strong relative strength. It's going to pull back a little bit and adjust, but this relative strength is excellent. We've got earnings that were up 140% quarter over quarter. Wow, that's really good. And I'm just looking at these earnings. They're looking very, very strong. So I definitely think ACLS, definitely buyable. And thank you very much for that. That's a really good thing. Hopefully the YouTube sound should be taken care of now. All right, another question from TikTok. Let's look at the SPDR. And of course, for everybody out there, the SPDR is the ETF that covers the S&P 500. So it's sort of a proxy. For instance, if you don't want to pick a stock, you just want to buy everything in the index, that is the one to buy. It's the oldest ETF, and it tends to be a very good, reliable instrument if the market is in an uptrend. And currently, we moved to an uptrend about a week ago from a uptrend from a market correction to a confirmed uptrend. So Right now, it is looking, it's looking like it's a little bit, it's pulling back a little bit, but currently the spider is at 412.97 in the after hours. The question is it going to go higher? Well, I think that we probably have coming into, I think overall the market is still in a downward trend. That is definitely true, but I do think that we're in a little bit of a rally right now. We could rally as high as 420 or maybe even 435 on the spider. So would I buy it right now? Probably not. I probably would be more of a stock picker and go for individual stocks here. But it does look fairly good, at least for right now. It is, I don't think I would. Right now, I prefer cash over that. But let's, in terms of the major indexes, I think it's one you could definitely look at. Let's compare the NASDAQ with the spider, and these are the two major ETFs that cover indexes. The spider, of course, is the S&P 500, and then I'm going to put in the QQQ, which is the NASDAQ 100. This is typically the technology. So far this year, the spider has outperformed the QQQ, the technology sector, though I think that we're going to see some leadership move to the technology area, and that's just very, very recently. But currently, the spider is outperforming. Now, here's the thing. Both of these have underperformed the energy sector. The XLE, of course, is the Energy Select Spider. And as you can see, if you started with $100 a year ago, put it into the XLE, which is the energy sector, you would have had 50 cents more. Wow, that's pretty good. You would have been up 50% if you had done that. You would have been down on the spider 5%, and you would have been down 10% on the QQQ. So it really is interesting. Right now, I am invested in basically two areas of the market, the energy area and the semiconductor area. Now, I've just started moving into the semis, and I've been in the energy area since really the first of the year. And I do think that that's where most of the action will still be, even with the price of oil moving lower. So very interesting thing, very interesting thing there. All right, let's look at NTR. This is Nutrien. This is a company, this is what, by the way, this is a very interesting stock because it signaled the famine potential in Sri Lanka. And I know that sounds very weird, you're looking at indexes and predicting things, but Nutrien is a Canadian company, and they get most of their raw materials from the Ukraine to make fertilizer. And so the price of fertilizer has a big impact on, unfortunately, things that are going on in the world. But I want to show you the price action of Nutrien. We have been sort of in this downward trend on Nutrien basically since about March, which is amazing. We topped out with Nutrien at about 117.24 right there, and then we have been in this downward trend, and we just moved below the 200-day moving average for this stock. Now, it has been an uptrend, but it looks like it's moderating. Here's the thing, even though it has a relative strength of 90, it looks to me like it's getting some resistance at the 200-day line. If we look at the technicals here, we will see that at the 200-day line, which is 83.51, we're getting resistance there. So here's what I would recommend. If you were looking, Mr. Optimistic Guy, I like that term, I would say no to this, only because I do think we're getting some resistance there, and I think the market is shifting away from some of these commodity plays. So my guess here is a no buy on NTR for now. And I think that we have to kind of look at NTR in that oops, that says wait for earnings. No, that's not right. I don't think you can buy it right now as it is starting to wane. So, tough market to trade again, but I do think that stuff is moving out of Nutrien. So I would not be a buyer of Nutrien right now. I just wouldn't be. All right, Nick, thank you very much. SCHG, let's take a look at that. Really quick, SCHG, and see what's going on there. And that is Schwab US Large Cap Growth, which is, of course, is a fund. And, we do ETFs and funds here on the show. This one is a closed-end fund or an ETF, an exchange-traded fund. Just wanted to put it out there. So it's made up of a number of different elements. It is in a trading range between 55 on the bottom and 86, 84.15 on the top. Why do I know that? Well, that's what the consolidation is, and it looks like it has made a turn to the upside. Now, ETFs trade a little bit differently than individual stocks in that they typically when they say buy in a dip, well, you can do that with a ETF. An individual stock, you should never do that, but with an ETF, it works because it's a basket of stocks. So here's the thing, looking at this, I do think that large cap is a little bit risky, and well, I think it's going to be a little bit tougher for the large caps going forward, because I do see, at least for the short term, and really this is very short term, I do see a movement back into some of the NASDAQ stocks. Typically the large caps are in the Dow, and that in that case I think that we're going to start to possibly see a little bit of a weakening of the flight to the large caps. So I would be careful here, even though it looks fairly good. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw a reversal line, and we're going to look, and basically right now I think you just have to be careful because right now we are still below that reversal line, and what that means is we're still, believe it or not, in a downward trend, and I do think that we're very likely to get resistance at this level. So my case is, I think you need to wait for it to move higher. I think you have to wait until it moves and it closes above that 200-day line. So here's my advice for what it's worth on that is I would to buy this, I would wait for a close above the 200-day moving average, and that 200-day moving average is at and that 200-day moving average is at 70.88. So that's what I would be doing. I would looking for that for it to I would wait for this one. I think it needs to go a little bit higher, get a little bit stronger, and then I think you could possibly move into it. But right now, I'd be very careful. I would not buy it. It's still in a downward trend, and we always want to buy when something is moving into an upward trend. All right, thank you. All right, let's look at Palantir. This is the big Peter Thiel company, PLTR. And of course, he was the first investor, outside investor in Facebook, and also in PayPal. So very interesting investor there. This is one of his companies, Palantir. The last few months have not been very kind to Palantir. We've been in this downward trend. Now we have been coming up to a reversal line, but we were still well below the 200-day moving average. So I just, here, Ryan, I think you just got to skip it for now. I just don't think it's that strong. So I would skip buying PLTR. It's just, yeah, I just don't think we can buy it here. The chart just doesn't look that good. I want to see it move above that 200-day line before doing anything else. Why? Because it just needs to show more strength. There's just no question about this. All right, Lisa is asking about AMD, one of my favorite stocks. I'm old enough to remember when Jerry Sanders was the president of that. I think he's dead now. But interesting company, Advanced Micro Devices, very key semiconductor stock. It's starting to make a reversal, but it's not there yet. I'm going to draw that reversal line. Yeah, there we go. This is the reversal line. Well, I guess it is kind of there, sort of starting. The interesting thing about this one is I kind of expected this to be stronger at this point. It is above 100 and pulling back. It is starting to reverse. The question is, could you buy it here? I'd be really careful about buying it here because it hasn't formed a base pattern. And yeah, I just don't think. Let's see. I just want to look where the pivot is on this. And we're 11% below the pivot, and the pivot's at 114.49 on double bottom base, which is a great base, but I just don't think it's strong enough here. I would be careful buying it this low in the base. Part of the problem that we're having is that many of the semiconductor fablesses aren't doing quite as well as the companies that are actually making their own chips. With NVIDIA and with AMD and some of the other ones, they don't actually produce their own chip. So they are primarily made by Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, which is TSMC. That is the symbol for it. With TSMC, the problem is, of course, that many of their advanced fabs are based in Taiwan. And, of course, right now there's a war that's threatening in Taiwan. So there is a question mark politically as to whether or not many of these fabless companies can meet the demand. Whereas companies like ON Semiconductor and Analog Devices, they actually build their own chips in-house. The same with Intel and Texas Instruments. So this is an area that has, it has suffered a little bit. Interestingly enough, AMD is headed up by a very, very accomplished woman who, interestingly enough, is the is related to the head of NVIDIA. So it's really interesting. It's kind of all in the family here. Great company, really like it, but I wouldn't be a buyer here. I just want to wait for it a little bit to see if it's going to get a little bit stronger. But the relative strength line is starting to move up. It's a good company. I would just watch this one right now. I probably would not be a buyer on this one, Lisa. It's a great company, but again, I do think it has issues related to its production because of the reliance on TSM, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. So I would watch this for now. Because I do think it, it's not. I'm not saying it's a down and out stock. It's one of the greatest stocks of all time. But several things, these political issues, and also the fact that it's trading below the 200-day moving average. So I would watch list this one for now, and I would do. That's how I would go about that. Let me just review some of the other things that I was talking about at the top of the show when my sound didn't quite work. I just want to kind of review some of these things that you might be interested in. The reason I'm interested in ON Semiconductor, ON, is because they just joined the S&P 500. Their symbol is ON, and while I'm not recommending it, I am buying this issue because I do think it's looking fairly good. It's moving to a new higher high, and it has a 96 relative strength, which puts it in the top 4% of all stocks out there. So very interesting stock. Also, another thing I want to talk about is Tesla is going to be, it's approved the 3-for-1 stock split. I do have a video that I put out there that you might be interested in later on, and that video talks about how I'm going to trade a Tesla. Interestingly enough, the date of record, this is important for Tesla, the date of record for Tesla is the 11th of August. So it's very quick. It's coming very quick. So the date of record for Tesla split is August 11th. And the reason that's important is because if you are an owner of record of Tesla before August 11th or on August 11th, you will get the dividend. The special dividend, of course, is 2 extra shares. So if you own 1 share of Tesla, you would get 2 more shares of 3 shares, and you get them after the split, which happens on August 31st. So that's just something you want to kind of put in the back of your pocket there so that you can remember that. I'm going to be talking about more about how I'm going to be trading I'm going to be trading Tesla. Oh, we have a great comment, and you bought it last week. I think you're doing well. I like the stock. I also like Analog Devices, of course, as well. So, oh, hey, let's look at for Mr. G. Thank you so much. BOWL. Let's look at that one and take a look to see kind of how we're going there. Wow, interesting. Bowl Corp. I don't know this one. It's in Mechanicsville, Virginia. Mechanicsville, Virginia. Really, interestingly enough, I grew up in Virginia. So interesting. And the question is, what do they do? Bowling equipment. Interestingly enough, operates bowling entertainment centers in Greenwich Village, New York, with 300 centers. How interesting. And they're based in Virginia. I don't know much about this. It's called Bolero Corp. So maybe what is old is new again. I can't really give you any information on this one. I'm looking at the weekly chart, but it does look like, hey, people are liking bowling. Look at that, 97. That's fascinating. It's not. I don't think it's a very small volume. There's only 326,000 shares traded. Typically, we want to see 1 million, but this is very interesting. That's on a daily basis, by the way. $12.21 is the last price on that. Interesting. We have, look at the very nice profitability, and look at the crowd. So people are loving the bowling. Isn't that interesting? This must be a consolidation of bowling centers. How interesting. A roll-up, it looks like. They're still in the loss position, down $4.32 a share. Very interesting. But actually, they have some fund support. Isn't this interesting? I mean, I don't think I would be a buyer here, Mr. G, but I'm thinking it's very interesting because it does look like people are interested. A little bit, the PE is a little bit high, but that's expected when you have this kind of thing. So it looks like this is a roll-up of bowling centers. How interesting. I don't really have an opinion on it, but I will say I'm going to put it on my radar screen. BOWL, and I'm going to put a question mark. So I really don't have an opinion on this one. Not really enough information here, but I do kind of like the way it's looking. So I would watch this one. So I would put this on my watch list. So I kind of think this is interesting. I really don't have anything. I don't think significant to add here, but very interesting. Let's go to TikTok and take a look. No sound on YouTube, absolutely. I think that should be solved right now. What do you think the CPI will be next? I couldn't tell you on that one. Go to YouTube for screen. Yeah, absolutely. What is your high flyer pick? Good question. Boy, you know what? There is one that my high flyer pick. That's a good question. My high flyer pick is Celsius. It's a company that makes weight loss beverages. CELH is the symbol on that one. And let's kind of review the chart on that one, just to get a look at Celsius to see kind of what's going on here. This is an interesting stock. The reason this one, I believe, is so interesting is because they got a distribution deal with Pepsi, and that makes a big difference. When Monster Beverage came out, it was Hanson Natural originally. It didn't have a distribution until they got a deal with Coca-Cola. So this may be kind of Back to the Future, but instead of Coke, Pepsi. And I do think this one is really interesting. And I do think this one could go a lot higher. There's also another sneaker company that I think is really interesting as well. Now, it did take a dive today, but it looks like it got support. So it's up after hours. I do believe, and I'm probably going to be a buyer of this one next week, as it makes a higher high. There is some resistance at about 110, but I do think this one could be big. Now, I'm not buying it until it comes through earnings. Its earnings are in 4 days. So we won't see it until Thursday. I probably won't do anything until Thursday. But this is one you want to probably put on your list, CELH, and I think it could do big things. Another one, if we're going to go through the ones that I'm watching right now that I think is very interesting. And this one is a sneaker maker. Can you believe that? It's the symbol on this one. It's a Swiss company. It's On. That's the name of it. It's called On Holdings. And this one is it's kind of bizarre. I'm not buying this one yet, but it is interesting. The chart it's a startup, and the chart is not very good, but it's starting to make a turn right at about 20. So I'm watching this one right now as well. So I'm not buying this one. It's not like Celsius. Celsius I'm going to be buying. This one not so much, but it's so interesting because since really in the last 20 years, at the very interesting correlation at the start of an uptrend, usually a sneaker maker will break out, and this may be the one. So who knows? But the one I'm looking at to have the most possible movement, at least in the near future, that would be Celsius Beverage. And I don't know if you've seen that one, but very interesting company and doing quite well. All right, we have some more questions, and let's take those. We're almost out of time here. Oh, somebody bought On. Okay, and you were talking about lease. We did Palantir. Oh, yeah, we didn't do Datadog. Thank you. Let's look at Datadog and see if there's any hope for Datadog here. Datadog, I hope it's going to be turning up. The funny thing about it is that I'm not ready to say it's time for Datadog yet. But if we draw that reversal line, it has, see, there's some green shoots here. The earnings were good on it, up 167%. The question is that good enough? I'm still not ready to be buying the computer software area. I'm just not ready for it. I just don't think it's performing as well. The areas that I'm really looking at right now are the semiconductor area in the tech. That's kind of my area of interest right now, and not the enterprise software. The enterprise software has traditionally been a great area, but not where we want to. I don't think where we want to go right now. So my thing is I'm probably not a buyer of Datadog, at least right now. Now, I do have a short on Snow, which may be a stupid thing to do because it's moved up so much, but I don't think, I think again, this one, as you can see, I have a short on it. I'm probably going to have to close the short, but I still don't think this one is good now. So I'm essentially avoiding the computer software enterprise area, but I am looking at moving into the computer hardware area, especially in the semiconductor area. So that's where I've been looking. Let's take a look at some of the areas of the market that are showing the most strength in industry group ranking. What I'm doing here is I'm just kind of going through that and looking at the strength. Of course, energy solar is number one. This is primarily due to the fact that this reconciliation bill has lots of free stuff for the solar industry. I'd be a little bit careful about buying here, just my thing. But if we go down here, the areas that I am most interested in currently is in the semiconductor area, because I do see a lot of strength in semis right now, at least in the last week or so. That seems to be an area that many of the funds are looking to possibly move into stronger. So I'm just kind of looking down here to see if there's anything that I kind of missed. Yeah, tech services, pollution control. The oils are falling off a little bit, but they're still very, very much in the top areas. Let's look at computer software medical. This is an area that that is starting to make a move, and I do like this area. It's got quite a few stocks in it, but this one, EVH, is one of the ones that I've been watching. Let's just take a look and see there. Yeah, okay, so we're almost at the, yeah, there we go. And I did take a half position when I sold it, and then I got stopped out. But I definitely think this one is worthwhile taking a look at. It's EVH Health. This is a software company, but it's in the healthcare space, and they had a very nice earnings report, 600% up in terms of their earnings. So this is one I have not gone back into, but I do like this area a lot. As you can see, just tremendous growth in terms of profits here as well. All right, so that's kind of it. Let's see. What was that ticker? Oh, okay. Let's see. No sound on your YouTube. Sorry about that. Thanks for following, by the way. Go to the YouTube for the screens. Yeah, that's really, if you're watching on TikTok, that's the easiest way to do it. You just jump on over to the YouTube and just go there and click on the link and you'll see it. All right. Well, let's see. One last question and we're done. Thank you very, very much, everybody. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and I'll be back on Monday at 5. And I hope everyone is doing well. I'm still mostly in cash, believe it or not, but I am seeing some strength in the semiconductor area, primarily in the areas where the chip companies that are making the most headway. And I do believe those are going to be the ones that actually make their own chips. So basically, here's the tickers that I've been looking at. ON, of course, and then also ADI, which is Analog Devices, and then COLL. This was a recommendation on the show, and also ACLS. So these tickers you might want to take a look at. I'm going to put those up here for everyone, and hopefully we're going to see some good stuff there. So I thank you very, very much for taking a look, and please, and I'm trying to get out to more people, and hopefully my technical stuff is getting better here, but it's still a little bit challenged. Sometimes I have the sound and I just don't know what it is in my headphones or whatever. Sometimes I don't do it right. But anyways, click that, hit that like button. That's really that really gets me out there to a lot of people. So hit that like, appreciate that. Also subscribe, and if you're not already a member of Action Trade Alerts, that is easy. We send out emails periodically, about every week or so, and then you can get that by going to www.dallastradingfloor.com and first and last name and an email address. All right, well, everybody, happy weekend, and I will see you back here at Monday at 5 o'clock Central. Happy trading.